Welcome to Storytime with Cozy Melka, where we gather to share tales about responsibility, courage, and honesty. As we come together, let's put on our listening ears as we're transported into amazing stories. For this episode, we'll be learning about bravery versus injustice as we continue our tale about the clever rogue, Robin Hood and his merry men. So without further ado, let's find a cozy spot, grab a friend, and let's enjoy a great story. All right, we're continuing today with Chapter 12, The Taking of Will Scarlet. Winter came and passed, and summer returned to close Sherwood and Green, and Robin and his band flourished, while men said that King Richard was on his way to England after his captivity. The outlaws hunted the deer and lived right royally, and even in the depth of winter, Marian declared that she had never lived so happily as in the forest. From time to time, Robin and his men made a haul from some band of Normans who passed along the forest ways, or spoiled some fat prelate of the gains he had squeezed from his unfortunate tenants, and no man dared to oppose him after the discomfiture of the Guy of Gisborne and his men when they went to seize the outlaw chief. Robin was careful that his men were kept busy over something, for he knew that idleness breeds discontent more surely than anything else. When the weather was open, there was hunting in the forest, and if they were forced to keep at home in their secret glade, there were bouts of arms, archery contests, and grappling, at which both Much and Little John were mighty players, beating even Robin Hood himself, although he too was skilled at wrestling. On a June day, the good friar and Little John had a set to at quarter staves, a mighty battle that raged for nearly half an hour, without advantage to either, though both got in many a hearty blow. They rested on their staves at last, both winded and hot from their exertions. "A little more beef in that arm of yours, baby John," said the friar, "and would you make a rare fighter? And a little less strong ale with your venison, Friar Tuck, would give you more wind to stand up against me." "Wind?" said the good friar. "Guard your head again for that, baby, for I have a plenty wind left to blow it off, if I do not crack it with my staff first." With a laugh, Little John went to it again, and the humming staves clashed and swung at each other as each man tried his best. But suddenly Friar Tuck drew back and pointed at a man running down the hillside into the glade. "Hold, John," he bade, "for that is Much carrying back to us, and never I have seen Much hurry before. There must be something wrong." "Robin, Robin!" Little John called, and Robin Hood came out to see what the shouting was about. In a few minutes Much told his tale, the end of which he had got from the serf of Isambard, who had heard the baron say that Isambard de Bellamy hath captured Will Scarlet, and will hang him at the next noon outside his castle gate as an example to all outlaws. "Not while there is a man in Sherwood," said Robin grimly. "Let us hold together and make a plan, for we will each teach a lesson to the Lord of Evilhold for daring to meddle with a man of mine." Swiftly the leaders of the band were got together for a council, for they knew well that Evilhold was a very strong place, and the rescue of Scarlet could only be accomplished with great difficulty. But Robin was determined to get his man back if he had to besiege the place. "Yet I fear this is no matter for siege," she said, "for we should lose half our band if we set about it in that fashion. We've no engines to batter down great stone walls." "Good Robin," said Much, "there is a man of our band, a mason, who helped in the building of Evilhold when he was a lad. Let us get him up and see if he knows aught of a way in." "A way in is easy enough," Robin answered, "but 'tis a way out that we need. Still, let us hear what this man says." So Much found the man, a burly fellow who was a better hand with the sword than with a longbow, and whose name was Dickon of Hartshead, since that was the village where he was born. "Now, Dickon," said Robin, "what can you tell us of the make of Isambard Castle, and if there is any way by which a man may get in and out from it?" "Master Robin, there is a way," Dickon answered. "It is a postern gate of iron, strong as the wall itself, set at the back of the castle from the great central gate. Isambard had built it there and masked by a deep arch as a way to take out corpses so that none might see them when he had done any murders. At last, so they said when I helped build the walls of Evilhold with the rest." "And can a man get in by that postern?" Robin inquired thoughtfully. Dickon shook his head. "No more than he may go through the wall itself," he answered, "for it is an iron gate and very strong, but a man inside might get out by it unseen. I know no other way." "Then," said Robin, "I will go in at Evilhold by the main gateway and come out with Will Scarlet by the postern. Do you instruct me all you know of the inner way of Evilhold, Dickon?" While Little John and the good friar warned the man of the band that we march an hour before dawn in forest gear and with bows, but not in armor. Not in armor, son Robin? Friar Tuck queried in surprise. But all Isambard's men will be heavily armed. How shall we fight them? Sit about in groups outside, out of reach of their crossbow bolts, and shoot at every head that shows. Our longbows can outshoot them by 50 yards, Robin explained. When they see you all unarmored, I hope Isambard will set his men at you, and then, if you run for the forest in time, not a man shall we lose. When this sham attack goes on, leave it to me to find Will Scarlet and bring him out. Or else we lose you too, and then we are all lost men, said Little John. Let some other go inside, Robin. Not so, Robin rejoined. I will bring him out. Now let us to it, good Dickon, for I need to know every passage and door of which you can tell me inside that place. Dickon took a stick and drew plans on the ground with it till dark, while Robin questioned him closely until from Central Keep and the dungeons under it to the outer wall, the outlaw chief knew all that his men could tell him of the inner ways of Evilhold. After that, the outlaws slept till Friar Tuck roused them 2 hours before dawn, when they found Robin already up and waiting. How will you get into Evilhold? Little John asked. Isambard would soon hang you as look at you. Leave that to me, said Robin. With him he had 2 great bundles that looked like baskets tied up in sacks, and when Little John wanted to know what they were, he shook his head and smiled. That is my army, he said. With it I will put to flight every man in Isambard if there be need. A mad venture, I fear, said Friar Tuck, shaking his head. I fear lest we lose you, Robin. Mad or not, it shall succeed, Robin answered. Else is our good Will Scarlet a dead man. Now march, men, for it is time. They set off, and after 4 hours' hard tramping came to where the forest gave way to the open lands around the hill on which stood Evilhold, Isambard's great castle, from which he ruled harshly over all the country road, levying tribute on the peaceful villages till they were half starved between his exactions and those of Abbot Hugo of St. Mary's. A man passed Robin's hidden band, driving a fat bullock toward the castle, and following him came an old man with a load of logs for Isambard's fire, and on the top sacks of chips and kindling wood. That is my man, said Robin, and stepped out and met him. Ho, Gaffer, he cried. How much will you take for the load? The old man shook his head. Good master, he answered, I dare not sell it, for it is for the castle. I will give you 2 gold marks if you lend me your clothes and let me take the load to the castle for you, Robin answered. The old man's eyes opened wide. 2 gold marks, master? Never in my life have I seen a gold mark, though I once had 3 silver ones. These 2 are gold, Robin said, showing them. Now, Gaffer, down with you and lend me your clothes, for there is need for haste. Aye, said the old man, for in a couple hours or so they will begin to assemble for the hanging of that right good man of Robin's band, and the wood must be unloaded before that. He got down, under Robin's direction, stripped off his old rags, which Robin put on. Then, with a scoop in his back and earth rubbed in his face, Robin lifted up his 2 bundles carefully and laid them on top of the sacks of wood chips, after which he drew on rough leather gloves, such as woodmen use for chopping among thorns to save their hands, and tied the gauntlets of the gloves over his wrists. You fear to soil your hands, master? The old man asked as he gripped his 2 gold marks, more wealth than he had ever had in his life. Aye, said Robin, for that castle is a dirty place, by all accounts, and I must have my way to handle more than wood. What be in thy sacks, O yours, master? The old man queried, pointing up at the 2 sacks which Robin had handled so carefully, placing them so that the string with which they were tied would be ready to his hand as he drove the cart. A few friends of mine, Robin answered, who may serve to amuse Isambard and his men. He whistled, and Little John, with 6 men, stepped out round the old man, who stood frightened at their sudden appearance. They will do you no harm, Robin said kindly, but will take care for you till I am safely inside that nest of thieves. Now, Little John, take good care of him so that no alarm can be given, and do you and all the rest lie hid till the hullabaloo begins about the drawbridge and the castle gateway. Then out into the open with you, advance till you are just out of range of their crossbows, and let fly with your arrows at every man who shows ahead. He took from the pocket of the cloak he had laid aside a queer-looking cap of muslin, which he put on his head under the old man's hat. Then he got up onto the cart, took the reins, and drove off towards Evilhold, while Little John and the others watched him and muttered prayers for his safety. Thank you for joining us for Story Time with Cozy Melka. We'd love for you to share with our friends what you learned from tonight's tale. Join us next time for the continuing adventures of Robin Hood.